From Our Family to Yours is a really beautiful 3-minute Disney short. However, it's not very clear. With context, I was really able to appreciate this and learn from it and read into it. But there is a review on IMDb of this, which I will discuss without giving any spoilers, um, although I'm not really sure if it can be spoiled. But there's a review that says that it doesn't make sense and that certain things that the characters do aren't very clear. And actually, when I sat back and thought about it, that actually is true. From Our Family to Yours was released in 2020, and it's supposed to represent, as far as the comments in YouTube tell me, on YouTube rather, it's supposed to represent Filipino traditions. We do have this representation of a Filipino grandmother and granddaughter, and they're bonding over this Mickey Mouse toy. And we get to see a little bit of the passing of time and how this Mickey Mouse becomes a bit worn. And it's clearly something that they bring out every Christmas, and we can see Christmas decorations and things. And then it's not clear what happens, to be perfectly honest. I guess this is spoiling the narrative a little bit, so if you haven't seen it, do check it out and come back. Disney have uploaded it to YouTube. It might also be on Disney Plus, I'm not sure. But I think then the grandchild, much older now, a teenager, young adult, goes off to wherever, college, work, moving away from home. I'm also not sure where that teenager's or child's parents are. That wasn't very clear either. But it is focusing on the relationship between this grandparent and the grandchild. And the grandmother is obviously very disheartened by this. And then the next thing we know, the grandchild has come back, presumably for Christmas. And she's decorated the house with all of these kind of paper lanterns, and it looks visually beautiful. And the grandmother comes down the stairs and she sees them, and her imagination transforms them into this wonderful kind of magic world that emulates the love and warmth that she is feeling because of the return of her grandchild. That's what I've read into it. I didn't understand the lanterns, and then I read the description in the YouTube comments, and a lot of people were kind of explaining a lot of things that were happening, and I kind of feel like it's kind of bad of Disney to represent this without actually ever saying, by the way, this is what you're learning about. I don't know. Certainly, the description on IMDb doesn't mention the Philippines or Filipino traditions. I don't believe the description in the description box on YouTube mentions it either. So it was very unclear what I was watching, and I'm really grateful for those comments on YouTube for giving me that context and helping me to understand what I was watching. Because, yes, in itself, it's beautiful, a relationship between grandparent and grandchild, the passage of time, what this Mickey Mouse doll represents, which is, of course, the passage of time. But then, as a child, it becomes a teenager or a young adult, it's very unclear what motivates the characters, why they have certain actions. At one point, the grandmother just kind of drops the Mickey Mouse doll and goes upstairs, and it's really unclear. I'm wondering if that's kind of a sense of giving up, because without the grandchild there, what's the point? I don't know if that's what it's meant to represent, but the narrative actually becomes very sloppy towards the end until we get the kind of final reveal. And without context, I wouldn't have really understood any of it. I would have got the basic premise of the relationship, but I really think Disney didn't do a very good job of addressing what they were trying to address. You can't really teach somebody about something without giving them enough information, if that makes sense. So thank you to everybody who left comments on YouTube to explain various aspects. It really helped improve my viewing experience, made it more fulfilling, more educational, and ultimately more magical. But I do agree with that the review that's kind of currently at the top on IMDb that describes it. They described it as propaganda. I'm not entirely sure they know what that word means, but aside from that, I do agree that they kind of said that. Well, they use the word convoluted and arbitrary. I don't necessarily agree with those, but they use the word no sense of stakes, and I kind of get that. That's definitely coming across there. I don't at any point feel like the use of the Mickey Mouse doll was just to push the consumerist aspect of Christmas. I think they just made it Disney. They put an element of Disney in there and injected a bit of Disney that we can all recognize so that we know we are watching something that is Disney. If that encourages somebody to go and buy their grandchild a Disney toy, then so be it. I really enjoyed it with context. Without it, I can definitely see why it would have been difficult to follow what was going on as the narrative progressed. I don't think they did a very good job with storytelling. But with the context, I really appreciate it. So thank you to everybody who helped enhance the viewing experience. Once you know what it's trying to do, it's pretty beautiful.